here today encouraging you in this very trying and uncertain time amongst the global crisis that we're experiencing. There's a community of people in the QAD ecosystem that want to see you succeed, and we are here to help. My name is Stephen Rosenthal, and I am going to bring you through how PICS plans to respond to the needs of the QAD community amongst this pandemic. We will hear from PICS Enterprise Software CEO and co-founder in a minute, but to get us started, I wanted to give you some context around our session here today. Today, we are going to talk about three main things. One, managing your now remote workforce while enabling visibility and control of your team. Two, handling the corporate controls on spending and how to improve your understanding of incoming liabilities. Three, enabling your people to shine during crisis when performing their jobs, both efficiently and effectively as a distributed workforce. The process we are going to look at today is the accounts payable process run in QAD as a company that uses that software platform. We have had the opportunity to implement this process in dozens of QAD sites, and one in particular stands out most recently as a huge success, and their story shines light on how to adapt to the current situation we find ourselves in with COVID-19. One of our large customers in St. Louis accomplished the following with an automated AP process. They were able to take what once was an incredibly manual process and through AP automation using DocLib, achieve a 70% straight pass-through rate. That means that 70% of their incoming AP invoices are not touched at all by any human in their organization. All the proper checks are still done, checking to make sure it's a valid supplier, performing a three-way match for a PO-based invoice. All that's done automatically, and the transaction is generated in QAD, invisible to the user. They were also able to check the incoming invoices the day that those invoices came in, getting that paper into the business quickly and getting visibility of that liability. Before using DocLib, they had 1,300 invoices approximately left unchecked in their AP inbox per day. They had 4 people running the AP process and were still unable to keep up with the volume of incoming invoices. Today, they only have approximately 50 invoices unchecked per day in the inbox, but were able to bring the staffing requirements for this particular task down from 4 people to 1 person. So they went from 4 people with 1,300 invoices unchecked per day to 1 person with approximately 50 invoices unchecked per day. Finally, since this customer is a large multinational and multi-division company, they were able to streamline each AP department process and implement a standard process when implementing DocLib. Now, in light of the current situation in our world, our goal here with you all is to outline how we can enable you all to achieve the same sort of successes since you are now likely a distributed virtual workforce. So I'd like to take a couple moments to interview our CEO and co-founder who founded PICS some 25 years ago and has helped companies through very trying times in the past like Y2K, 9/11, and the 2008 global financial crisis. We will cover what we are offering here in particular, and I would like you all to hear his heart behind why PICS is responding the way they are and why we want to partner with your organization during this time.
All right, well, thanks for taking the time for a quick interview, Rich. Appreciate you coming on and giving us some insight here into this new initiative, given the global climate that we have with COVID-19. I was wondering if you could start off just by giving us a quick overview of why PICS decided to move forward with this type of initiative, especially during this bit of a trying time.
Yeah, absolutely. And my pleasure, Stephen, for participating in this. First off, I want to say that, PICS is a company. We've been around. We're actually celebrating our 25th year this year. And throughout that timetable, we've been fully committed to the QAD space. Most of our people have 20 plus years experience, either as former QAD employees or from QAD users themselves. it is a market that's very important to us. It's a market that we believe in, and really at the start of this crisis, we started making calls to our customers just to try to understand, first off, specifically how the crisis was impacting their business. And we also wanted to find out where we could help. And what we found out from our customer base, and also from what we're hearing from some prospects as well, is that workforces around the world are really working from home right now. Plants have shut down, offices are shut down, so people are working remotely. The second thing that we consistently heard was there is a freeze on any new IT spending projects, which is completely understandable. Many of these customers that I've talked to, there's no end date, really, defined, because we just don't know what's going to happen next. So what we did is we basically brainstormed, and if you think about it, we have our customers, our prospects who are now, their teams are working remote. They're not in the same physical building that they're used to be in. So their business processes that are built around them being in those specific, buildings together are now not working. Email is coming into play. Lots of phone calls, lots of inefficiency. Plus, coupled with that is, the spending freeze. People are not going to spend, money on, invest money on a IT project for the short term. So what we came up with is what we're internally calling the Share the Risk initiative. Basically, what it will do, or what it's about, is we will implement what we call our AP Lite workflows. This is for accounts payable automation, for a QAD user who signs up, which gives you full functionality with regards to visibility of supplier invoices that come in via email or via fax or what have you, routed through a structured workflow to be validated, approvals obtained electronically if needed, and transactions created on the back end. So that's like an overall summary of what it is that we're offering. It's a implementation that we can do in a very short period of time, which is why we're basically calling this a 60-day trial initiative. Yeah. So as you sign up, we'll implement the software either on premise or in a private cloud for you. We'll train you, we'll help you through the implementation, and you have 60 days to actually utilize the software before you decide to go forward if you want to continue to utilize the software. There's no risk that's involved as far as the customer is concerned. At any point in time, you can cancel. If you decide this is just not for you at this particular time, you can cancel, and we ask you to pay for a very small cancellation fee, to actually cancel it. So that's the thought process, really, to address those two things that we've heard: remote workforces, which is broken people's processes, manual processes within their buildings, and being able to assist to help our customers and future customers implement an automated solution without having to invest in it right away.
Yeah. I mean, that makes good sense. And so you've been in this space for a long time, obviously, as a QAD partner, previously working at QAD, implementing QAD. You're familiar with how these businesses work. What about the AP process makes remote work a challenge, specifically for a QAD user running the QAD supplier invoice process and paying those invoices? What about that process in particular makes it challenging for a company to, enable their workforce to work remote for that process?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing happens when there's some sort of issue. That issue could be a receipt hasn't been done, or an issue could be that the supplier invoice price doesn't match the PO price, and a buyer needs to approve it. If that buyer is physically, not in your building, obtaining that approval along with all the necessary documents that are associated with for the buyer to make that decision can be time consuming, and in turn, the invoice, could go late. The second thing that comes to mind is really, again, in and around the crisis that the world is in right now, where cash flow is tight. And one of the things that this implementation will assist the users with is cash flow visibility. With our product, we, as invoices come in, they're going through the cycle before they're actually, you're generating a voucher or supplier invoice in QAD, but you still have that liability of those invoices that are received. To have that visibility of those invoices that are in the process, I think it's critical at this time, because it could be, if you don't have visibility of that right now, that could come up and and bite you, later on. So with this implementation, you would have that visibility.
Yeah. I mean, and we're not quite sure what the future holds there, but in order to adapt and make sure that expenses are in line, something like this, giving you that real-time visibility into the business is going to be super important. Have you seen this affect certain verticals, or has there been anything within specific, QAD obviously focuses on these 5 main verticals. Is there anything as you're brainstorming this that you feel like that, this vertical, we've seen this happen and which kind of initiated this sort of, aspect of the initiative, if you will, or anything that you could speak to around that, or may have not been the case, but just curious around that.
Oh, it's a great question. And what we've seen is feast or famine, to be honest with you. Some of our customers who are involved in life sciences and food, they cannot keep up with the demand. And I believe that's, it's going to be a short-term demand on what actually is happening. And then we have, other customers where their customers are shut down, and in turn their plants are shut down. I think this initiative can address both of those scenarios. If you are incredibly busy and are able to implement an automated solution in a matter of a week or two, what you get into is like what you talked about a little earlier, in this webinar, with a pass-through rate of invoices going all the way through the process without a human having to touch it. It's validated. It's not a duplicate. The price is right. We did the three-way match. Everything is good to go. Why should a human have to touch it? Just get the transaction created. So as your volume is increasing, you can actually keep up with it without having to hire more people. Because honestly, how are you going to hire more people if everybody's remote? Secondly, for I'm internally, I'm always everybody kids me is that I'm an internal optimist, and I do believe that the world will come out of this crisis. And I think for those QAD customers right now who are slow, this is a great time to implement something like this. The way that we've structured this is that your risk is very low, if non-existent. It's something that we're confident that we can assist virtually any user on. So now is a good time to actually implement that. To be ready once we get out of this crisis and volumes come back up to normal.
I mean, that's a really good point, because you don't really think about how the companies that are just going guns blazing, they've got a lot of demand right now, trying to keep up with some of the food crisis, some of the even you look at the toilet paper or paper towel supply, there's manufacturers in the supply chain behind all of that. So in order to make that supply chain seamless, that's also obviously important. And then for those that are cash crunched, maybe their manufacturing plants were deemed not essential, needed to shut down for a time. They don't have a great understanding of what liabilities might be coming in the future, or if they could absorb those. Definitely makes sense to take advantage of a trial with a low cancellation fee if it's not a good fit. So it definitely makes a lot of sense. I know there's a lot of concern as well, just in general about the virus. I know that you have spoken to your team a lot about how you can remain calm and level-headed and confident. Maybe if you could speak to, how you personally are kind of approaching this, and where, how you remain calm and optimistic in a time like this might be helpful to close up for us.
Yeah, another great question, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, what I've been telling my team here at PICS is that there's many things that are outside of our control right now. Those things that are outside of your control, if you spend time thinking on those things, it's really not going to add any value. It's just going to add a level to your stress, a level to your anxiety. What I'm challenging my team to do here at PICS is to focus on the things that you can control. And take every day's challenges, which are new challenges. These, we're going into uncharted waters, here as a company. And I think everybody that I'm talking to on this call is probably shaking their head. Yes, we're seeing the same things. So you just take things day by day, control what work on what you can control, and do the best that you can with it. The final thing that I said, as you mentioned, I've actually been, in the QAD space, dating myself here, for 30 years. I built my career, with QAD software and QAD users. It's something that's very important to me. And, as a leader of this business, our desire is to help QAD users get through this crisis. And that is really from the heart. That's why we're doing what it is that we're doing. I hope that we get people to take us up on this, take a look at our products. If you haven't had an opportunity to work with us, it'd be great to meet you and us as a QAD community get through this crisis together.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate that. I also appreciate some of the creativity, and even as a business owner yourself, putting yourself in the shoes of these users and kind of sharing the risk with them. It's not an easy thing to decide to give your bread and butter product away for free to help the QAD community. It speaks to your true partnership in that community. So we definitely appreciate that as a QAD community, and excited to see how this helps people control what they're able to control in the future here. So thanks again for your time, Rich. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Now, as Rich mentioned earlier in our session here today, there's a great opportunity for you all to take advantage of in light of the need to enable your team to work remote, control the spending of your organization, and improve and gain visibility of the AP process for your company. We are offering our software and services free of charge for an on-premise or cloud installation to accomplish a 60-day trial. Our team of QAD experts will implement and turn on out-of-the-box AP automation workflows for both PO and no PO based invoices for you to use during this chaotic time. Your only liability is potential $900 cancellation fee at the end of the trial should you choose not to continue using DocLib. If you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, click the link below the video to schedule a 30-minute call with us to plan our potential project together. Thank you all. Talk to you soon.